Here's the ultimate guide to sharks in Raft. Hi friends, and welcome back to Raft. The shark is a key antagonist to our favorite ocean floating simulator, and he can cause a lot of problems for you if you're unfamiliar with the game. I lovingly refer to this shark as Jeremiah, so that's what he'll be called for this video. You're welcome to call him whatever you like. But without further ado, let's talk about the sharks in Raft. First up, let's talk about aggro priority. Unless you are playing in peaceful mode, which negates all animal aggression behaviors unless you attack them first, then Jeremiah will almost always be aggroed on you or on your raft. Generally speaking, the player has the highest aggro priority, meaning if you're in the water, you are target number 1. Jeremiah will only target one player at a time based on proximity when aggro is triggered, but aggro can change from player to player if multiple people are in the water. The only item that can override the player aggro priority is the shark bait crafted under the Tools tab with 2 low-tier fish and some rope. The shark bait can be an essential tool for some shark-free swimming time, as it technically has the highest aggro priority in the game. But importantly, it will not override aggro if a player is in the water, so make sure everyone is back on board before deploying this or you won't get any value out of it. Once the shark bait is in the water, it will last for just over a minute in easy and normal, and just about a minute and a half in hard. During that time, Jeremiah will be completely occupied, so you can loot an island in peace. However, if you are daring enough to stab Jeremiah during his meal, you will again reset the aggro onto the attacking player, necessitating everyone to get out of the water again in order to have him finish the shark bait. This can be used as an easy strategy for removing Jeremiah altogether, if used with the bow and arrow from a safe part of your raft. It's just slow and rather time-consuming to let him consistently re-aggro onto the shark bait. Another important aspect of Jeremiah's aggro is that he can only see for about 30 meters out from his current position, and the instant nothing that has higher aggro priority than the raft is in the water, Jeremiah will instantly reset to being aggroed on the raft. You can use this to your advantage by parking your raft ever so slightly further away and swimming to the island. Yes, Jeremiah will initially aggro on you and may even get a few bites in, but if you get to the island and stand on shore for about 45 seconds, he will have left the area to return to your raft, leaving you far outside of his aggro radius to enjoy looting the island without constant shark attacks or going through tons of shark bait. On your journey to the island, you can also jump over Jeremiah to avoid his attacks entirely, but this requires a bit of practice and can be a bit finicky. It's easiest to do by swimming backwards and getting Jeremiah to the top of the water where you can see his fin coming at you. You'll need to jump right before his attack animation triggers, which is when he's about 5 meters out. This takes some practice to do consistently, as there's no distinct animation you can use as an indicator, but you can avoid shark attacks this way. Even better, Jeremiah is a polite gentleman and will not attack your raft without you present, leaving you and your things completely safe during this period. Be warned that if you are off your raft for more than 4 minutes, he will almost certainly attack the raft the instant your game registers you as being back on your raft, so make sure you have a spear out. As for getting back to your raft, you can do it the vanilla way of swim jumping back just like how you got to the island in the first place, or you can use the unstuck button that appears after you idle in the water for 30 seconds. Just make sure you are treading water without moving, refresh your pause menu, and click the button that appears at the top. So long as you are in the water, it will always teleport you back to the center of mass of your raft, which is also useful if you lose your raft or forget to anchor it. If you're playing in easy or even normal, and you don't mind being a tiny bit exploity, you can also use Jeremiah's aggro priority and radius to explore islands without even having to get your raft close to them at all by using a technique from speedrunners called death baiting. Easy is perfect for this because you don't lose any items upon perishing, but it can be done in normal too by dumping your inventory in a chest or on the ground before jumping into the water. Simply swim in the opposite direction of the one you want to travel in, making sure Jeremiah is following you. It'll take him a decent little while to whittle your health down, but inevitably he will get you. And by the time he does, you'll have dragged him and his aggro radius far outside of the range of your raft, giving you plenty of time to hop back in the water and swim directly towards whatever it was you wanted to travel to, without any risk of having to dodge every attack. A much easier way of dealing with Jeremiah on a slightly more permanent level is with either the wooden or metal spear. Jeremiah always attacks the player in a predictable movement pattern. He'll swim far away, turn 180 degrees, and start swimming directly towards you. As he prepares to attack, he lunges and opens his mouth, then swims through you to deal damage. Fortunately, you can use this attack pattern to your advantage, and it's easiest to do with one of the spear varieties. If you simply stab your spear as Jeremiah opens his mouth to lunge at you, it will cancel his attack and mitigate all incoming damage. Importantly, this is most consistent for the host, as multiplayer delays can change the necessary timing. The sword varieties as well as the bow and arrow can also be used for this strategy, although the timing is harder due to the shorter attack range and the longer hit animations of the sword. And of course, the projectile timing of the bow and arrow is entirely different. For anyone who's truly just out for blood, the fastest time to kill in the game is done with the bow and arrows with a technique called bow spamming. Just load up your inventory with arrows, get really close to whatever you want to take down, and simply spam arrows into your target. Most enemies have a damage taken animation that will prevent them from dealing damage to you, but you can deal a mass amount of damage to them. Keep in mind that the arrows are still projectiles and you don't draw your bow back, so you do need to be really close for this to work, but it even works with bosses like Mama Bear or on Alpha. As a bonus tip, once Jeremiah has flopped, loot the 4 shark meat, but don't pick up the shark head. It's not useful for very much other than a wall decoration, a funky hat, or to be made into biofuel, but it can be infinitely more useful if left behind. Raft takes 5 minutes to despawn any mob corpses to allow ample time for the player to loot them, and by grabbing the shark meat and leaving the head, the game will allow the body to exist for the full 5 minutes, assuming that you may still want that head. The 3-minute respawn timer for the shark doesn't start until that body has despawned, meaning instead of just getting 3 minutes of absolutely shark-free time, you get 8 minutes for the exact same cost as long as you don't loot the shark head. Also be warned that doing this in the hard difficulty can have other unintended consequences compared to the other difficulties, as there is a small chance to spawn in additional sharks whenever Jeremiah perishes in hard. So you can be in a completely vanilla save file and have up to 5 sharks circling where before there was only 1. Functionally, that doesn't affect very much other than being a lot more dangerous to go swimming in, but all of them will still aggro on a single shark bait. The timer just starts when the first shark attacks it, so be wary of using it effectively. If shark hunting isn't your thing, but you still want to avoid Jeremiah, you have another option: fortify your raft. By using the last option in the top row of the building menu, you can fortify any of your raft foundations with 1 metal ingot and 2 nails. Fortified foundations are immune to shark attacks completely, meaning Jeremiah cannot munch on any piece you have fortified. Note that if you do decide you no longer want a fortified piece, you will not get the materials back upon destroying that fortified piece. You only need to fortify the exterior ring of your raft, as Jeremiah will not attack interior pieces so long as they are fully connected. Side buildings and disconnected pieces, like if you choose to build your nets off the back, will still need to be fortified to be protected. If you aren't at a point where fortifying your entire raft is viable for you, you still have a few options. Jeremiah is most likely to attack corner pieces with a likelihood of any corner being attacked at roughly 30% of the time. Exterior edges are still vulnerable, but each piece only carries a 5% attack likelihood. Additionally, the further away a foundation is from the original center of your raft, the more likely it is to be the target of Jeremiah's rage. If you don't have access to a smelter, you can still use this knowledge to your advantage by making something I like to call a sacrificial foundation, which is just a simple triangle foundation a piece away from the rest of your raft. While it's not absolutely guaranteed that Jeremiah will go after this piece, he will do so about 85% of the time. And if you fortify your other corners, the likelihood of that piece being the attack target increases. Or if you just got your smelters and don't have access to piles of metal yet, you can still make a more efficient fortified setup by having a fortified foundation jutting out every 4th tile, which the game will then treat as having a fully fortified exterior at a fraction of the cost. Once you have the necessary metal, you can fill in those gaps and fortify the edge of your preferred raft shape. Also, as a bonus tip, the advanced collectionettes are the only base tiles that do not need to be fortified to be immune to shark attacks, so keep your hard-earned metal away from them. Importantly, fortifying your foundations is the only vanilla method to prevent shark attacks on your raft. Yes, you can cancel them by stabbing Jeremiah multiple times, but that gets harder as the difficulty of your save increases, because Jeremiah will attack your raft more frequently and require more stabs to get rid of, and it also gets harder as the size of your raft increases. Jeremiah can and will bite through walls, roofs, or any other building piece to destroy your foundations, and subsequently any attached pieces that foundation was supporting. The one loophole to a piece getting destroyed without stabbing is if you manage to pick up a collection net before it is fully consumed. This actually prevents the collection net from storing the damage Jeremiah did to it, and when you place the net back down, it will be at 100% health without repairs. But again, fortifying your raft is by far and large the simplest and most consistent option for long-term playthroughs. With your raft protected and your newfound knowledge of how to tackle every shark encounter you may have, you're ready to face the endless oceans and all of the critters below the waves. If there's anything you think I missed in this guide, please let me know. Anyways, I think that's everything from me for now. I hope you enjoyed. Please consider leaving a like if you did, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. It really helps me out. I hope to see you all again soon, but until then, have a great day.